What's up, guys? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and we have a good bit of plays today. Yesterday, we didn't have a ton for the sole purpose and reason we had a lot of open sequences between yesterday from the weekend and stuff. I wanted to close them out, and we did close a lot of them out with Georgetown, Fresno. We even played Coppin State this morning. I put that in like 2 a.m. I noticed James Madison's metric. So we closed out the Pistons. So with not that many open sequences, I feel more comfortable playing more games today, especially leading up to Christmas. I think they're going to tell some stories. So the first one I like here is I do like Cleveland to cover this spread. You can argue the line's not a terrible line just because their records and Cleveland's at home. But I'm still going to argue that the public is going to be on Milwaukee, like they will most games. So in a game like this, Milwaukee took the first two. There are times a team will sweep another team, so I'm not saying it can't happen, but with everything combined, especially the public, I think Cleveland's a good pick here. Now we got Detroit versus the 76ers. The Sixers are now playing the Knicks, and you see they just keep moving the line. It was like 10, now 11, now 12. Typically when I see this, now Detroit has lost by double digits on multiple occasions, like in the last week, so it makes it where you don't want to run out of your way to lay the 12 points. At the same time, again, I think they want the Sixers. I think they want a lot of these teams looking really good going into Christmas. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. In this game here, we got the Bulls and they were playing the Hawks, and I've been trying to stay away from the Hawks because Trey is one of the most inconsistent guys in basketball. On this one, I am going to go with the Hawks to cover. While I think the public might be on the Hawks because of the injuries and the fact that the Bulls are just playing terrible, I don't think that it's a giant game people are going to be playing. And I think it's one, again, the Hawks need this a lot more than the Bulls, and they need to look strong. They might, I think they're going to be a team better than a play-in team. They might be the play-in team again, but I think they need to push them as a strong team. Now here, I do like the Pacers. Now, I do think Boston is going to do well, and 9.5 seems like a lot of points for the Pacers who've been playing pretty good. But I do think that since basically you have two healthy lineups in Boston at home, and Boston's probably been the most consistent team this year, maybe outside of Milwaukee, I do think the 9.5 points, a lot of people are still going to take Boston. They're one of those teams, like I was saying, people will lay the 10 points for. And I think a lot of people see the Pacers as pretenders. So I like the Pacers to cover that spread. Here, that's a lot of points. I think at this point, I could be wrong, enough people will be fading Golden State. I mean, look at the injuries here. No Curry, no Wiggins, no Clay. They don't even have DiVincenzo. There's no reason, in my opinion, that people, I always say, people are going to say Golden State because they're Golden State. But I think they're going to lose. But I do think the 12.5, I think these injuries is just to get people to take this 12.5, which also has moved. So I do think that it's going to be a cover for Golden State here. Again, I think they've forced enough people, conditioned enough people to think that the Warriors just are complete garbage on the road, that people are going to lay the points, I believe, and the Warriors will cover there. Now we got the Knicks at home. Now this one's interesting because I'll be honest, I like the Knicks a lot more. At the beginning of the season, I said the Knicks were going to flip the Raptors as far as being in the playoffs and just in the division. And I still do the Knicks as a playoff team. Now, what's interesting is we know how they love their numbers. And with the win, the Raptors go to 16-16 against the spread. They also go to 14-18, and it puts the Knicks to 18-14. And they seem to love those palindromes and numbers like it. Furthermore, even though I do think a lot of the public still doesn't believe in the Knicks, I think there's still going to be a lot of people that see them at home looking good, see it's an even spread and take them. So in this particular game, I was liking the Knicks, thinking they want them looking strong, rolling into Christmas. But they do play a game against the Bulls, on the 23rd. So I do like the Raptors in this particular game to cover. This one, I like Houston, simply for the reason I think more people are going to be in Orlando. It's going to be Paolo versus Jabari, of course. It should be very interesting. But you see a lot of the role players for Orlando are out. And I think people are just looking at Houston as probably the worst team in basketball, maybe outside of Charlotte. So maybe with Charlotte. Charlotte has a couple guys, especially with ball back. But yeah, I do like the Rockets to win this game. I think they just proved they're slightly better of the worst teams here. I'm rolling with the Mavs. They just got not that they can't get torched again, but like I said, the numbers. Mavs win, they're all 16, 16, 16, 16, 16. Basic numbers. I'm not fishing for gematria, just basic numbers. And as far as the win-loss, they'd finally get to 11 and 19 against the spread. They're just abysmal against the spread. So because they suck so bad against the spread, they just got destroyed. Luka got ejected. I think they're going to push that. These two might be a playoff matchup. It's not too likely because they're both low seeds, but they'll both be low seeds, but you never know. So here I like Luka to cover. And here we got my Blazers. And here's another one that it's very interesting because I picked the Blazers in game one. Thunder won. And, you might say, okay, that means he's definitely picking the Blazers in game two. Believe it or not, I think I like the Thunder here because I think of that logic. So many people are going to think, in my opinion, the Blazers just lost to the Thunder, and now they're going to win. Now they're going to return serve. They're not at home. But I think a Thunder win makes more sense. It keeps them in the hunt for a play-in team, and it also makes them 14 and 18, and the Blazers 18 and 14. It keeps the division close. It does a lot more for the Blazers or for the Thunder than the Blazers. And I think the winning back-to-back, they've done this a lot now. I think it's a way of keeping divisions close. It's a 4-game swing if you think about it, a 4-win swing as far as games back. And so much of the public's going to be on Portland again. And even though I had him the first game, I don't have him this game because I think the fact that the Thunder won the first game is a little bit of a giveaway. Now we got Lakers, Kings. Kings giving up 7. I always seem to pick the Kings wrong. Here I am going to go Lakers. They're trying to push that this team could be a play-in team as well, and I think they can't fall too far behind other teams like the Thunder or even teams like the Jazz that I don't think are going to make it, that are way ahead of the Lakers. So I think the Lakers have to win certain games. This is a perfect one because the Kings are one of those teams, and we got the 7 points as a buffer too. So should they not cover, we still got 7 points. Now, I think we're at a point almost halfway into the season where we're probably going to see, if at any point, more people finally fade in the Lakers. So this would be a great game to take, in my opinion, them. And I am going to take them to cover that 7, which leaves the last game, Hornets, Clippers. And this one I am going to cop out and just take the over for 2 reasons. Ball came back. He plays a faster pace. Yeah, Nick, you've been offering some really cool insight, and I appreciate it, specifically regarding playoffs and things of that nature. I'm glad you were able to find the channel and are commenting because I always enjoy talking, especially when somebody has different insight. It makes it where we can kind of make a better decision. But yeah, so in this occasion, the Clippers I like to avoid because they're so sneaky with these injuries. Now, as I said, Ball, I believe, just returned, so I do think the pace picks up, and since Clippers, they are right now in normal ranges. I think they're in the low 30s as far as overs, but it's still pretty low. I think a lot of people are going to be hammering the under because they play a slow pace, but I think since they're playing the Hornets, it does wind up being a faster pace, and I'm liking the over. So just to recap every game, I tried to also pick it where, I try and look at all the metrics, home teams, all that stuff. So I do like the Cavaliers to cover in game 1. I do like the Sixers to cover in game 2, and I do like the Hawks to cover. Then I like the Pacers, Warriors, and Raptors. I do like the Rockets. I like the Mavs. Again, these are all covers. I like the Thunder to cover again. and I like the Lakers to cover. And we're going to be playing over on the Clippers game. Now, there's one game that I like to cover. I don't think it's started yet. It's a college game. Now, most of these are going to be leg ones. I'm thinking about making this college one a leg 3. It's not as fun of a game, but it's a great metric. And it's essentially a team that has done horrible against the spread. Hopefully they haven't started yet. It's going to be, no, they have not started yet, and it's going to be Oakland here to cover Michigan State. You can see they're 1-10, and I did flirt with that. If you watched my last college video, I didn't pick Louisville because I was like, oh, they might start 1-11 against the spread, and in this case, the other team can go 66 with the win. So I know it could be like you look at that and it makes it where you don't want to pick it, but I just watched Vallis Barrio. The same thing happened today. They went 1-11. The other team went like 6-6. So I do think that kind of stuff does wind up being a coin flip. Not that it can't happen, but I'm going to play the metric that they don't start off this bad against the spread. Now we only have about one team left with only one win against the spread. So I think it's Louisville and these guys. So I don't think it continues. So I do like Oakland, and if you were going to make any, like a leg 3, that would be the one I would play. Oakland, just because it's a metric. It's not trying to bet the public. It's a metric that just does not hold over the course of the season. So we got a ton in play, as you can see, but it's fine because with my system, all we need is about a split. We've picked up about 20 units since Saturday, just closing out sequences, and we've only got 3 open sequences, which I hope to close today. I do like the Mavericks here as a leg 2. We have 2 leg 2 open and 1 leg 3, I think. So if you have a leg 2, or even if you wanted to play a leg 3, I think the Mavericks is a good play for the NBA. So there are some I like more than others. Now, I will be going into their Jags. I didn't forget about them. And I'll be going into, somebody asked me to do one on their playoff prospects, and as well as if they're going to win tomorrow. So I'm going to go into that game and why I just believe that they've already determined who's going to win, and based off of the schedules and things of that nature. So I think it's an interesting game. I did go back and forth on it a couple times myself, but after looking at everything, to me, and I'll go over it again in my when I go over the Jags Jets game. The path is really gives everything away. But yeah, so I'll have that one out in a couple hours, and for the NBA, again, I think at worst we split. I think we have a good day. And some of these, like Cavs, Sixers with a lot of points here, Thunder, I think a lot of these could be traps that we can win easily. So take care, everybody. Don't forget about Oakland to cover. I do like them in college basketball. And happy earnings.